Thank you for being here with me. If you haven't been at one of my presentations already this week, my name is Erica Peplinski-Burge. And just to tell you the tiniest bit about myself, have been teaching since 2005, 18 years in the pre-K through eighth grade classroom. And now I work for Voces Digital as a curriculum manager and teacher trainer. My dog is barking very loudly downstairs. Can you hear her? Excellent. So you can't hear the dogs. We are just going to roll right into it because this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So I am really excited to share all of you the Educator's Self-Care Toolbox. Burnout is bad for everyone with Erica Peplinski-Birch. That would be me. So our agenda is I'm going to try to convince you that self-care is student care. I'm going to go over the pillars of health. And then I'm going to give you some strategies that you can apply right away. Even if you just take one of these, it should improve your overall health and burnout. Just to let you know, obviously, I am not a doctor. So these tips are all things that I have learned on my own. To share something personal, when I was a baby, a year and a half year old, I had a major operation on my stomach. I had health problems most of my life because of it. By the time I was 25, my doctors were ready to put me on disability because we had tried all of the things. And that was when I started really doing my own research and learning how to care for myself in a way that promotes health. And so these are, these are not doctor tips. I'm not a doctor, but these are tips that I have learned over the years to keep myself healthy. And I did not have to go on disability, and I was able to keep teaching and do all these things because of this research. So I am wanting to share this research for you. I love researching, and hope that it will help you to improve your health or feel better in some way. That's why I like to share it. Okay, so I just want to start with this. Teachers work really, really hard. And I know that a well-being seminar cannot take all the stress off of your shoulders, nor do I intend it to. But there are things that you can do to reclaim your own health, and that is the purpose of this seminar. So I don't want to like ignore the elephant in the room that teachers are overworked, but there are things you can do to kind of reclaim your health. And we do need to stop over glamorizing work. Stop glamorizing overworking. The absence of sleep, good diet, exercise, relaxation, and time with friends and family is not something to be applauded. Too many people wear their burnout as a badge of honor, and it needs to change. And that used to be true of me, and I did get very burned out, and I had all sorts of health problems, and I am hoping to help you avoid that. So, in general, teachers are stressed. 60% of teachers report daily job stress. Enrollment in teacher prep programs has dropped by a third. 45% of educators are dissatisfied with their jobs in 2020. 79% of educators were dissatisfied with their jobs in 2022, so it's going up. And more than half of all public schools were understaffed at the start of the 2022-2023 school year. And it's because we are overworked and overburdened. But we can take some of that back. A lot of the times, I think people tend to say, oh, stress isn't that big of a deal. I can deal with it. But stress really is a very big deal to our bodies. We are stressed out. The amygdala, which is in charge of our freeze, fight, or flight reaction, activates. Our bodies deal with stress like the same way we did when we were hunter gatherers and like hunting across the plains and trying to escape from dangerous animals. So it's really important to realize even mild stress activates all of these problems on in our bodies. So when we're stressed out, new sensory information cannot access memory and association circuits. It strengthens the reactive part of our brain. And that's because our brains are like a house with a top floor and a bottom floor. And the top floor is our prefrontal cortex and our logic and reasoning. And the bottom floor is kind of the where the amygdala is and the part of our brain that keeps us alive during stressful events, like a lion chasing us. And so when we are even mildly stressed out, the bottom floor pulls the ladder to the top floor, ignores the top floor, where our logic and reasoning happens, and the bottom floor takes over. And it's just to keep us alive, but that makes us more reactive. Our synapses, our connections between our neurons start to wither. Our stress hormones are released so we can fight or flee quickly. Glucose increases in our blood, so we release more sugar, so we have more energy. That's not good for us, especially for diabetic. Our blood vessels dilate, our hearts beat faster, our blood pressure rises, and increase our breathing increases, and we also have muscles that are tense. If you are stressed out over the long term, you can get like permanent neck and shoulder pain and migraines, and I certainly had those problems. So, why this is important to our students, I'm just going to talk about this very briefly, is because if you go into the classroom and you were up all night, like making the most perfect PowerPoints or getting, grading hundreds of papers, and you were just exhausted, your students will scientifically actually mirror that exhaustion back to you. And it's because in our brains we have these things called mirror neurons. Now, neurons, and you're seeing kind of a representation of one here, are what are responsible for everything in our brain. So they recall information, they do movement, they do breathing, they run everything in the brain. When you see someone doing something, the same neurons that are firing in their head fire in your own head. That's why when you're watching a sports game and you're into it and you see someone get injured, you're like, oh, when you wince and you feel it in your own body. It's because those mirror neurons are firing. Or why when you see a scary monster sneaking up on the protagonist in a movie, you can feel the hairs in the back of your neck stand up. It's because your mirror neurons are firing. So I want to give you an example of that because I think this will help convince you that you need to get rid of stress. And I'm going to show you a picture of a kid, and I want you to feel where you feel, how your own face feels when you see this picture. And then in the chat, I would like you to take a guess as to what this kid is feeling. So, what do you think that kid is feeling? Any guesses? Disgust. Thank you, Hannah. It's okay. We're all a little tired at the end of the day. He is feeling disgust, and you probably felt your own face crunch up a little bit. Notice this next time you're watching a scary movie or watching a sports game and see someone get injured. That feeling where you see someone else do something, you can feel it in your own body, that's your mirror neurons. So if you go into class and you are exhausted and you are stressed out and you don't have energy and you go to talk to your students, they will mirror that same energy back to you. So it is critical for students to learn that their teachers are in a good place mentally. And I'm going to try and help you figure out how you can get there. So, what we can do to create the best environments for ourselves and our students is manage stress. And I'm going to give you some free tips for managing stress. Get out in nature, the way you sleep, what you eat, movement, and community. And all of these things, they all seem like basic things, but there are scientific reasons why they contribute to our health. Okay, so I'm going to do something kind of mean, and I'm going to try to stress you out slightly just so I can show you how to bring yourself back down. So picture the start of the school year. You have new students, a room to prepare, supplies to order, a curriculum to plan, though maybe you're using both so you don't have as much planning to do, a pre-test to give, website to prepare, open house packets or a syllabus to prepare, books to level, and then you look at Instagram or Pinterest and you feel like you could do a million more things, and so you're probably feeling stressed out. And then the most stressful thing ever happens at school for me anyway, is that you have a great idea right before class and you're running some copies and the copy machine jams and you can't finish the thing you're trying to copy. Maybe you are feeling a little stressed out. I can feel a little stress in my shoulders right now. The good thing is there are breathing techniques that you can use to cancel out the stress. And the reason is because your brain and your body communicate. So if your brain is saying, I'm stressed out, then your heart's beating faster and you're breathing faster. However, we can recognize that we're stressed out and control breathing, which will send a signal to our brain to tell our brains to calm down. So this is key. And the first two breaths are quick ones. You can do them with students or you can do them really quickly right before you go talk to that student that's stressed out, stressing you out, or before a difficult class. You can do these things to help yourself. So this is called the cyclical sigh. This is the most effective known breathing technique for relieving stress quickly. It is clinically proven to relieve stress. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is kind of the rest and digest system. It lowers the heart rate, reduces cortisol, improves focus. And 1 to 3 repetitions has been proven to provide immediate relief. So this is the simple breath that you need to do. It's a long inhale, followed by another short inhale, and then an even longer exhale. So it looks like this. One to 3 repetitions provides immediate relief. So let's try it all together. One more time. I already feel calmer. I did this right before this presentation because I always get a little anxious before presentations. I highly recommend you do this one whenever you are feeling stressed out. 5 minutes a day is shown to lower heart rate and decrease anxiety. So this is clinically proven. Another one that I really like that's quick that I will even do with my students is the 4-7-8 breathing technique, because really the key here is the long exhale. And so with this one, you breathe in for 4, you hold your breath for 7, and then you breathe out through your mouth for 8, long and slow. Now, if you can't hold your breath for 7 or can't breathe out for the whole 8, it will still work. It's just that taking a deep breath, the holding of your breath, and then the slow out breath that will calm your heart down. I will do this with my students, and I will count in the target language, so it counts as like a little mini brain break. So let's try this one more time. Inhala, this is in class, inhala, inhale through your nose for 4. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, espera, hold it. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, exhala, exhale. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho. Hopefully you are feeling calmer now. Hopefully you will notice that you have less stress in your shoulders and your neck. Your heart rate feels calmer and your whole body feels more centered. These are gold for me, and I will do these with students too. Yes, these are great to do before bed as well, Hannah. So this other one, I'm just going to describe it briefly because I need to make sure I'm staying on track with my time. I could talk about this for a long time. This is for things that are like super high stress for you and things that you like if you have deeper stress, like you're worried about money or your health or bigger issues. This is a great one for releasing those emotions because a lot of times we tend to bury those emotions. Like I bury them in my stomach. And even if your brain isn't feeling them, your body is still experiencing the stress and all of the negative consequences. So actually allowing yourself to feel those emotions can really help you deal with the stress. And this is one we're not going to practice now, but you want to do it on your own when you have 15 or 20 minutes and you just do a really deep inhale. And then you hold it in, and while you're holding it in, you clench your fists, and whatever that emotion is that you've been bearing is you just let yourself feel it and feel it and feel it and feel it, and then you exhale it out. And then you repeat that, and you repeat that 5 or 6 times. And each time you let yourself feel it, you'll notice that the emotion feels less powerful. So you're dealing with these emotions and you're helping your body process them, and you're not keeping your body in this stressed out state. These are really important. I'm going to keep going for time. A little breath bonus, there is actually a song that is clinically proven to decrease anxiety by 65%. Sometimes I will play this with my students or as students are coming in. I'm going to put the link to it in the chat. It is Weightless by Marconi Union. These were clinically proven to decrease stress. If you are sad, it's also shown that 13 minutes of listening to sad music helps you process that sad feeling. In addition, 9 minutes or more of happy music is enough to help you shift moods. So these playing different kinds of music for yourself or for your students really impacts your mood in the classroom. Hopefully, you notice now that you're feeling a little bit less stressed out. I'm still a little stressed because I have a lot more to get through, but we're going to keep moving. Going outside. Going outside is huge. Spending time in forests, hiking in mountains, and just being outside can lead to significant health benefits. Studies have shown that walking in the woods can improve blood pressure, boost mental health, and decrease cancer risks. So if you spend some time forest bathing, it will improve your health. Now, interestingly enough, they have found that the benefits top out at about 2 hours a week. But if you can spend like 15, 20 minutes outside during the day, that really makes a big difference in your overall health. And they're starting to find some of the reasons why. Trees release a chemical called phytoncides. I might be saying that wrong. This chemical is known to reduce stress hormones, lower the heart rate and blood pressure, promote calm and focus. It boosts natural killer cell activity, which is your immune system. It improves sleep quality and it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest system. So if you can just go and get outside, I know that if I'm stressed out, if I go walk in the woods, like the second I'm in the woods, I feel like a weight is lifted off my shoulders. So going and spending even 15 to 20 minutes outside is really, really good for you. Okay, sleep benefit. Sleep, like the I go back and forth between whether sleep or nutrition is more important for health, but sleep, I cannot underemphasize how important sleep is for you. If you have a choice between making beautiful slides or sleeping, you should definitely pick sleep. It will benefit you and it will benefit your students. When we sleep, our brains make connections, categorize, and consolidate memories. We regulate our emotions and it supports our mental health. We improve our decision making. We flush toxins from our brains. We repair DNA. It reduces our risk of chronic disease, regulates hormones, repairs tissue, restores energy, it strengthens the immune system, it balances the hormones, and it also increases life expectancy. And on top of that, it's free. Sleep could not be more important. Sleep is like exercise, however, in that, like, if I broke my arm and I couldn't do any weightlifting for a couple of months, I could start exercising again and build that strength up again, but I'm never going to get back those couple of months that I wasn't able to move my arm. And sleep is like the same thing. Maintaining good sleep hygiene can get you back into a good place, but the more you miss, like you're never going to get back those benefits that you missed when you weren't sleeping well. So there's two different kinds of deep sleep, many different kinds of sleep, but there's two kinds of sleep you need to know about because when you sleep impacts what you're getting from them. You really, really, really want to try to sleep on a regular schedule. Like you want to, even on the weekends, be going to bed at about the same time within the half hour and getting up at about the same time within the half hour. And I know that's not very fun, but here's the reason why. We get sleep in about 90-minute cycles throughout the night. Deep sleep, you mostly get early in the night. So deep sleep dominates early in the night. So if you go to bed a couple hours later, you are missing deep sleep. That's why if you go to bed at 10 usually on the week and you go to bed at midnight on the weekends and you sleep till 10 and you wake up and you still don't feel that good, it's because you missed a lot of your deep sleep. Whereas REM sleep dominates later in the night. So if you go to bed early and you get up 3 hours before you're supposed to, you're missing a lot of your REM sleep. And both of those have super important health benefits. Deep sleep strengthens the immune system. It physically restores you. That's where you get your cell repair and growth. It consolidates our factual memory and motor skills, and it turns out the lymphatic system, which clears toxins from your brain. During the days we're thinking, our brain produces toxins as a byproduct. We clear it out during deep sleep, which you only get early in your sleep cycle. REM sleep, which dominates late, is vital for emotional regulation and mental health. During REM sleep, the part of our brain that experiences emotions kind of like turns off, and so you re-experience sometimes traumatic things during this part of the night, but you do it without feeling the emotions so you can process them in a less stressful way. It's also where we get our best creativity and problem solving because parts of our brain connect that don't normally connect during our waking hours. We consolidate emotional and procedural memories, and our dreams occur, which is where we get a lot of our inspiration and our weird connections. So, again, both types of these sleep are crucial for your health. We don't have time for this video, though I will share it later. But how can we get sleep? Sleep schedule, which I just talked about, so, 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 so important. Got to try to go to bed normally within a half an hour of the same time, wake up within a half hour of the same time. If you sleep way later than normal or get up way earlier than normal, you're missing either REM sleep or deep sleep, and you're not going to feel as good. Try to keep exercise 2 to 3 hours away from bed because that riles you up again. Caffeine actually has a half life of 5 hours. So if you drink coffee at 4 o'clock, at 9 p.m., you still have half of that caffeine in your system. So I don't drink caffeine past 2 p.m., which is sometimes a drag, but it's better for your sleep if you can avoid it. Alcohol, even though it makes you feel tired, is a sedative and it impairs REM sleep greatly. So that's why if you like, I wear a tracker, a sleep tracker, and if I have even one drink, my resting heart rate goes way up, which is not good, and my heart rate variability goes way down, which is not good. It actually impairs your ability to get good sleep. Large meals, you want to try and keep them 2 to 3 hours away from bed, and that's because otherwise you'll be digesting all night, and that again, you don't get as good a sleep. Try to do no naps after 3 p.m. again because it will impact your sleep. Bedtime routine. Our brains like patterns. So if you can establish a bedtime routine where you do X, Y, and Z, like maybe take a bath, do some stretching, read, and then you sleep, that will help your brain predict sleep and then you will sleep easier. Light exposure. This is huge. Um, I'm going to try and explain a very complicated topic very quickly. Our eyes get light exposure kind of in the top half of our eyes. And so the light exposure that you're getting is really, really important for triggering the start of your clock that tells you when to sleep and when to be awake. If you can get some bright light early in the morning, especially outside light, way better than inside light, it tells your clock to start the day. At the same time, in the evening, you want to go low lights because having even like normal overhead lights will signal your brain that you need to stay awake. So in the evening, I try to do lamps or really low lighting and I keep the overhead lights off. Otherwise, it wakes you back up again. If you are having a hard time sleeping after all of this, I recommend you look up a yoga nidra or a deep non-sleep deep rest video. And these are they're kind of like a meditation that will get your body in a place to sleep. And I'm going to put those in the chat. Non-sleep deep rest is just the scientific, more technical way, but these are both basically the same thing, and they walk you through this whole body and mind relaxation. I did a in-service with my district, and we listened to one of these videos as part of a longer training on health and wellness, and I had teachers fall asleep on the floor of my classroom when we did this. So if you have a really active brain, this will help you. And again, we don't have time to listen to that. Um, yes, Hannah says, click out any snoring parties from the bedroom. I have only 5 minutes to cover two really important topics, so I'm going to go very quickly. I could talk about all of this stuff for hours. It's really important that we have joyful movement in our week, and it doesn't really matter what you do as long as you are enjoying yourself because that's the thing you're going to keep up. So going from if you are, mostly sitting, I know teachers don't sit a lot, but even just going to a walk after dinner will make a big improvement in your health expectancy, your life expectancy, and your overall health. So if you can make some time for some enjoyable movement throughout the day, that's huge. It could be running up the stairs 2 at a time. It could be a dance party with your kids. Sometimes I will do jumping jacks with my students, or I'll race my own kids outside. Or when I'm talking to students, I'll squat down so I can get a little leg exercise or just a walk after dinner. These are huge for overall health, and I can't, with only 5 minutes, go into all the details. But getting some movement into your week is really important. And if you are an adult, as most of us are, lifting heavy things is also really important. So moving, even just walking and doing some heavy lifting, really important for overall health. And again, we're not going to watch that. We only have 4 minutes to cover a big topic, but nutrition is huge. Our cells are literally made of what JJ mentioned some really interesting research. She said 30 to 60 minutes of moderate activity does more for you than antidepressants or anti-anxiety medicine. There is some really interesting research on that with dopamine and how like exercise can give you 2 to 3 hours of extra dopamine. I can't go into it right now, but yes, it will make you happier if you get some movement in. Nutrition. Our cells are literally made of what we eat. When we eat whole foods and non-processed foods, our cells are made out of healthier things and our body works better. This is a very long story short. When we eat processed foods, it's hard for our body to make healthy foods. So the easiest way to describe an ideal diet plan comes from Michael Pollan, who's one of my favorite authors. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. That is the kind of the big overall. Um, you want a variety of non-processed, mostly plant-based foods with nutritional value. And we say mostly plant-based because, and I again, this is like a whole other session. You have bacteria in your gut. You have 10 times more bacteria in your gut than you do cells in your body. And this bacteria in your gut influences everything from your mood to your cravings to your immune system. It's in charge of a lot of what we do. And to have the healthiest bacteria in your gut, you want to get 30 different plants a week. I know that sounds like a lot, but spices count as plants. So does coffee, which really helps me get in my 30 plants. So if you can get 30 different plants in a week, your microbiome is going to be at your most healthy. That's like an entire another presentation, but you want to make sure you're getting lots of fruits and vegetables because that feeds lots of things in your body that really need it. 2 minutes. I'm going to cover community in 2 minutes and then we'll be done. So in the 1960s, there was this town, not Rosetta Story, but not Rosetta Stone, but Rosetta Story. There was this town called Rosetto, and they found that they had zero heart attacks under the age of 55, and death rate for men, because they weren't measuring women at the time, over 65 was half the national average. They tested for diet, location, family history, and exercise, and they couldn't figure out why these people were having so many less heart attacks. The demographics were they were a town of Italian immigrants. Most worked in quarries or factories. They ate rich family meals. They smoked unfiltered cigarettes. They played cards till late in the night. Three generations lived under one roof, and 80% of men were in at least one community group. In the 80s, when the income went up and people moved out into their own homes and put fences up and became more sedentary and stayed on their TVs, their heart attack rate went up to be the same as the rest of the nation. And so what they found was what separated this town before was having three generations under one roof. So you have community support of having those community groups and those late night cars and those family dinners. Being with your people actually improves your health metrics. It makes you happier. It makes life worth living. So take the time, make the time to go and be with friends, make the time to spend with your family. This will improve your overall health. It's free, it's easy, and it's fun. We are social animals and are happiest and healthiest when we work together and support each other. And that is already 2:30. I'm surprised I made it through these, but I'm sorry I did not have time to really do questions. I want to leave you with these two thoughts. It's easy to always want to show up for everyone else, but it's really important to show up for yourself as well. Teachers tend to put other people first, and you are a person that needs to be put first too. You are an important person doing important things, and you really need to take care of yourself. That's my elevator speech. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that at least one thing in this presentation is something that you can do that will help support you in having a more relaxed school year.